Hi, today I'm going to use the TI-84 Silver Edition calculator to show you how to graph a quadratic equation and then use the calculator to find solutions of the equation. To the left of the screen, you'll see the quadratic equation x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. For the sake of time, I've gone ahead and factored that quadratic equation and found the solutions to be x equals 7 and x equals negative 2. Now I'll show you two ways to use the graphing calculator to verify that these indeed are the solutions. The first thing we can do is by graphing, and we'll go into y equals and enter the equation. I actually already have it entered in there. X squared minus 5x minus 14. I'm going to go ahead and delete out this and select graph. There we have our quadratic function. The solutions to the quadratic function are where the graph crosses the x-axis. And unless you know the numbers or the intervals of the x-axis, it might be hard to determine. A student might think that the solution is at -1, when indeed we've shown that it's actually at -2. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this button, trace, and actually the function above it, calculate, to help us find the solutions using the graph. I'll select second, trace, to go to the calculate screen. Using my arrows, I will go down to 0 because the solutions of the quadratic equations can also be called the zeros because it's where y equals 0. I'll select enter, and it's asking for the left bound part of where it intersects. So I'm going to use my arrows on the calculator to go just above to the left side of the intersection and press enter. Next, it would like the right bound side, so I'm going to arrow over just below the intersection, select enter. When it says guess, select enter again. You can see in the calculator it shows that the 0 of this side of the function is x equals -2, y equals 0. And that validates the solution that we found mathematically. So next we'll come to the other side of the quadratic. I'll again go to second, trace, arrow down to 0, enter. I will use my arrow buttons on the calculator to go to the left bound side of this intersection, which is right below. Select enter. Using the arrow buttons to go above on the right bound side, enter. Enter on guess. And it says that the 0, it is x equals 7, y equals 0. Again, that is the same thing that we found when we did it mathematically. This works well with pretty numbers, such as integers. Sometimes your solutions won't be integers and you'll have decimals in your answer. This can also help. Using this feature can help as well. So now I'll show you a second way that we can determine the solutions. I'm going to go ahead and clear my key press history. Go back and look at our equation, x squared minus 5x minus 14. And we're going to use the table function. The table function is right above the button that says graph. So I'll press second and graph. And this gives me a table of values. This table shows, if I arrow down, that when x is equal to 7, y is equal to 0, which is a solution or a 0 for our quadratic function. And again, proves what we found mathematically. If I go up in my table, the next number I should be looking for is -2. And you'll see that there as well. -2, x equals -2, y equals 0. The table function also has a couple of different things that you can do in what's called table set. Sometimes your answers won't be as close as -2 and 7, and so instead of having to arrow down or arrow up to look for them, you can go to second window and you'll get to the table setup feature. Another function of the table setup menu is that you can change the increments by which the x values change in your table. You can change that anywhere from, change it to 5, etc. And if you did that and go back into your table, you would notice that the increments of your x values change in increments of 5. that can also help you in finding solutions. There are lots of ways to find solutions of quadratics with your graphing calculator. These are two. If you have any questions, I hope you'll be able to refer back to this video for help.